My name is Meagan Marie, and I am the Community and Communications Manager at Crystal Dynamics, working on Tomb Raider, and we're based out of Redwood City, California. Survival is definitely Lara's primary motivation, and I think that's fair considering that's a pretty primitive instinct, is to stay alive. So that's at the heart of the game. But as far as like gameplay mechanics, we're really working hard to ensure that the core pillars of the Tomb Raider franchise are still obviously evident and paramount in our new vision of Tomb Raider. They're just wrapped up in that lens of survival. I don't think it's necessarily easier. But just in generally speaking, I can speak from that perspective because I've been a Tomb Raider fan since I was 13. Well, it's natural to be a little bit nervous at first, and I, being a longtime Tomb Raider fan and the community manager, I work with the Tomb Raider, hardcore Tomb Raider community very regularly. Obviously, there's gonna be people who are scared because we're changing Lara, we're changing the game up, and there's people who are gonna be skeptical, and that's totally normal. But we also have a ton of hardcore fans who are, they're seeing the seeds of what made Tomb Raider great back in 1996, and they're seeing Lara's personality starting to shine through, and they're really starting to get what we're doing with Tomb Raider. So it's understandable to be apprehensive, but I really think that what we're doing is making a new and updated and unique, but essentially a Tomb Raider experience. Yeah, absolutely, that's one of our most paramount goals, is that we want Lara to go through a very large character arc. So she starts this adventure 21, right out of university, and she's thinking that she's going on like an archaeology expedition, and she ends up stranded on this island, this mysterious island with scavengers chasing after her and her crewmates, and it's not what she expected. So she goes from someone who's somewhat timid and unsure of herself and even scared to pushing through that, and eventually through moments that define and change her, she'll become this Tomb Raider, this action heroine that we know. Oh no, how can you be offended being compared to Uncharted? Like,
I think it's a great
Uncharted's a great franchise, so like, it's definitely not an insult. Obviously, like, genres iterate upon each other, and people take influences from everywhere, but we're really, we're competing against ourselves and player expectations and trying to do something really unique in the genre. So while, it's definitely not insulting to be compared to Uncharted, we really want to make sure that we feel unique. And we think that the survival lens and sort of the more mature storytelling and the character growth is what's going to set us apart. We're definitely not open world, because we're not like a choose your own angle, choose your own mission sort of game. We have very open spaces, but we have a very specific story we want to tell. In order to facilitate Lara's growth as a character, we have to have the narrative be a singular one. That being said, what we do is we worked in a system called gear gating, and using a new system called fast travel. So you work through story sequences and then come into these large hub spaces that you can explore for hours. They're huge, they're so much fun to run about in. And then as you evolve, as Lara evolves, she can modify her weapons, or she'll learn new skills and new areas. She'll be able to access areas she wasn't able to previously. So you may have already visited these other hubs, and then the fast travel system will allow you to go back to them and revisit them and re-explore once you have new tools or new skills. So there's sort of this fluidity and movement, and it's also customizable in the fact that, like, if you just want to plow through the story, you can, but if you're a real Tomb Raider fan who loves running about and exploring, you can do that, and there's layers of that throughout the island. Stalking her,
yes,
they're actually very difficult. They're kind of like hard to pin down sometimes. It took me a while to get my dodge scramble right, so I wait for just the last minute and then dodge out of their way. But I know that, like, specifically the animation teams put a ton of work into that, and they really want to make the world feel like a living, breathing environment. So you never know when a wolf is going to pop out, or a deer is going to run by, or there's a rabbit scuttering around the ground, or a bird flying by, and I think that they've done a really good job with that. Survival is definitely going to, like we said, be at the heart of all these experiences. So there's going to be different scenarios, and I'm thinking through my head, I can't give them away the specifics because they're actually really cool moments, but there'll be new challenges that are, again, that kind of instinctual, primitive challenge, like how do I stay alive in this scenario? So there'll be more of those situations moving forward. We're not going too deep into those systems yet. We just debuted them, and we're going to go let everybody get exploring, go really deep into them in our next little part of the campaign. I'm not entirely sure of the number that we have up there right now, but it's still sort of being balanced, which is why we're holding off on talking about it right now. But we want you to have some customization and some ability to choose your playstyle and tailor it to how you would like it. We will be doing, we announced at E3 that we have a Microsoft timed exclusive DLC, so it'll eventually end up on the other platforms also. But I just want to stress from a studio standpoint that we would not hold back any content that's part of the main campaign. When you buy and play Tomb Raider, it's going to be a full, complete, satisfying story, and then whatever content we do have is going to be just a complimentary sort of add-on. So it's actually it's a hard thing to do. We've gauged it at about the 10 to 12 hours if you just focus on story. So if you just want to run through the game and ignore all the exploration and all the extra traversal and collectibles and all of that, that's about the time that you'd probably be aiming at. But I know I can spend hours and hours and hours in a single space just jumping about, digging around. So, well, we're definitely focused on the single player, but I think that the hub system and the fast travel and gear gating is something that absolutely facilitates going back and revisiting and re-exploring. Yep.
How about the new Legacy of Kain game?
You're the second one to ask that today, and I can't even touch that. I can't talk about
you
anything
think about it,
to that.
or it's no comment at all?
No comment.
No comment at all.
I'm sorry. I know you guys are so curious. So.
Okay, thank you very much.
You're very welcome.